In this episode of the English Right Now podcast, we're talking about one of the most fascinating topics for English learners around the world. We're talking about the differences between British and American English, and we're talking about some wonderful words, well, some that are similar and some that are very, very different. And we're going to teach you at least 10 pieces of vocabulary. We say at least 10 because it's a real conversation with my dear friend Rob, and anything can happen. Hello, Rob.
Yeehaw!
I was waiting. I knew this was coming.
Trying to be a little bit American there.
Already. I was going to say howdy. I don't know if Americans really do say. I think that's a bit of a thing, but that's a sort of thing from the cowboy films that we sort of may have grown up on when we were kids. But yeah, yeehaw, as they say. But I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see if anybody writes in with send us a list of words that you do and don't use. But there you go. How are you today?
Well, I'm fine. I was thinking we're talking about American versus English. Is there a difference between an American greeting and an English greeting to start with?
Well, I love that you're saying American and English. So we're saying British English because American, they're both English. Yeah, I mean, I think what's up is very American. Mm-hmm. What's up? Yeah, what's up? Whereas when we're like, you're right.
Yeah,
that was all right,
mate. All right, mate.
You're all right. Yeah. Very British, isn't it? And what's the correct response to "you're right"?
Not bad. Right?
Yeah,
not
or
bad.
just
Mustn't grumble.
You're right.
You're right.
Yeah. You're right. It's like a hello, isn't it? And I never know really how to respond to "what's up." Perhaps somebody who's from America could let us know, because you hear Americans go, "Yo, what's up?" and you're like, "The sky." I don't know. What is up?
Whatever.
I don't know whether to say not much or "what's up." Not bad. It doesn't seem to work. But yeah, there are a lot of differences that we're going to talk about between what we call British vocabulary and American vocabulary, because vocabulary, there are some regional differences, and there's like you may go to Scotland and hear the word bairn rather than baby, but I think they tend to use the word, some of them will use the word baby as well. But in general, we're talking about words that are established in the UK versus words that are more established in America.
Yeah.
So can you think of one off the bat?
I'm thinking of the lift. The thing you go up and down the tall buildings in. Yeah.
Yeah.
We call it a lift, don't we?
I think as well we can afford to be quite judgmental on these words, whether or not we think the British win or the American win. I think we've got to try and be unbiased as well. Lift is the thing we get in, and the Americans call it an elevator. Of course, that pronunciation may be slightly different. It's more like elevator. But they would call it an elevator. So a lift, elevator. If you say elevator in the UK, you're going to understand.
We'll know what it means. I mean, and of course, the word elevator means to elevate, to go up. So that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's kind of a more formal lift, isn't it?
Yes.
I think both of these work. I don't think there's any kind of clear winner there. So yeah, for me, it's both of those work. Both of those I understand, and in fact, I have heard British people say elevator, although technically we should say lift. What about the place that we live in? A block of a building. There's a block of.
Yeah, a block of flats. So we live in a flat, a single-story room or rooms, isn't it? We live in. That's a flat. Yeah.
Yeah, and the American version of that is apartment. Although some people argue there's a slight difference. I have heard British people use apartment.
Yes, sometimes you see when a new place has been built and they're selling apartments. I don't know if that gives it a slight hint. They're slightly posher flats and apartments. Gives it a little bit more status.
Well, I think, to be honest, here I'm going to go. What would you say is the better word in your favourite?
The word I would tend to use is flat.
Yeah.
But when somebody says I live in an apartment, that sounds slightly smarter, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you can have those loft apartments, can't you? It doesn't sound as nice if you say I live in a loft flat.
Yeah.
I think the word apartment, I would hazard a guess, it comes from Latin languages, because you've got like apartamento in Spanish and Portuguese, for example. So I think actually it possibly sounds a little bit more formal and, like you say, a bit politer. Whereas flat, very
Mm,
literal, isn't it? It's like a flat, no stairs. It's all flat. It's very
yeah.
literal. So I think while I do use the word flat, I think I prefer the word apartment.
Mm.
Yeah,
Well, I say it sounds more impressive. It sounds smarter for some
yeah,
reason. And I guess if you're selling your flat, call it an apartment, and maybe you can put the price up a bit.
yeah.
but
So it's
but
not a
flats,
flat.
yeah.
It's an apartment.
And I guess we talk about council flats, don't we? Which are kind of,
Yeah,
council run flats that are sort of bog standard,
yeah,
average, ordinary kind of rented accommodation. So not
yeah,
particularly smart. And
yeah.
so the flat has that kind of connection, I guess.
Yeah, while I use the word flat, and it is technically the British word, I do think apartment sounds a little bit, yeah, a little bit nicer. So yeah,
Yes.
I'm going to go America win on that one. There we go. I don't know why I've made it a competition. Like, so
Uh,
America are 1-0 up at the moment. So can you think of any? Can you think of another word?
Okay. What about trousers? Well, we call them
Oh,
trousers in British English.
yeah,
The long pair of trousers you wear covering up your legs. But what do they call it in America?
pants,
But it's
pants.
confusing because
It is for us. Yeah,
is underwear. Pants are
yeah.
what you wear under your trousers, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, yes. So yeah, for us, we have trousers, which are the things that cover our legs, and under the trousers go the pants. Technically, the name of pants is underpants, which then starts to actually mean that the American English makes more sense if you call them underpants, because your underpants can't go under pants if
Hmm.
we don't call them pants. But we tend to call them trousers and pants. And I'm guessing, like, because we have that word pantaloons, and that I think that again comes from Latin. So I'm guessing that's a Latin origin word in terms of America. Where we got trousers from, I don't know. But I would never say pants for trousers. I-
Hmm.
it's
No,
not a good word, is it? In some ways,
no, and I
because
say it would lead to confusion. If you,
yeah.
I've messed my pants.
Well, I've got an actual story about this. I've told this
Yeah.
before. I had a friend. Well, I have a friend, and she came over. She's from America, and we went for ice cream. She had chocolate ice cream, and she spilt it on her leg, on her trousers. But she said, "Oh no, I dirtied my pants." And of course, there was a couple of people around going, you know, because they knew what she meant, but at the same time, just sounded ridiculous. And
Yes.
then she went, "Oh, they're all brown." And of course, it sounded like she'd soiled herself. She found it hilarious when she realized why I was laughing, and but and there was nothing malicious about it, but it was hilarious
Mm.
uh, to say that, and it was a bit of a mix-up. So yeah, I yeah,
Interestingly, as I say, in British English, we call them a pair of trousers, don't we? Or we should do
yeah.
really. A pair of trousers. They don't call it in America a pair of pants, do they?
I don't know. I don't know, because I'd call yeah, we call pants underpants, a pair of underpants as well, don't we?
Yeah. Even though it's
So
only one of them. Yeah.
I'm not sure about the Americans, what they do there.
Mm.
They can this lesson's going to go out, and basically we're going to be bombarded with no, yes, 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 you're right, yes.
Hold on,
So
hold on. So what if we call underwear pants? If pants are trousers in America, what are underpants in America?
underpants, I guess. I don't
Underpants.
know. Maybe they're still underpants
Yeah.
because they are technically underpants. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah. True.
But there you go. So yeah, that's one that causes a bit of confusion. And I'm not going to give a win to either of those ones. You can stop me if you want with the winning. Okay, garden. We've talked about gardens before.
Yeah,
We like gardening. We did the whole lesson. We talked about British fascination with gardening.
yeah.
Uh, and the Americans don't call it a garden, do they?
What do they call it? The
The
yard.
yard,
Yard,
the
yeah.
backyard, the front yard.
Hmm.
Yeah, a yard for us is a measure of distance. So yeah, they would call it a yard. And I would get if somebody said the yard, and I guess it's maybe coming from something like a courtyard or something like there's some origin maybe there.
Hmm.
But for us, it's definitely a garden.
Yeah, because a garden implies grass and greenery. A yard to me not only is a measurement, but we have
Yeah.
things like builders' yards, don't we? A
Yes.
space where a builder would keep all his tools and wood or whatever it is. That's more of a sort of business area, a yard for storing
Yeah.
things, but no grass or plants or flowers or anything like that. That's the
No.
garden. Yeah.
No. For me, I think garden just sounds more of a beautiful word. I think that's what I'd go with there. So garden is the British word. We do use it, and that's a lot of the thing as well. We tend to use a lot of the words, both of them. So we use yard for a kind of industrial area where you say, as you say, it's like a builder's yard. So we do use it, but it means something very different for us. But I would never say, "Oh, where's your son?" Oh, he's out in the backyard. I'd say the back garden, even if we don't have any kind of garden like grass or stuff like this. So yeah, no. For me, what are you going? British or American word there?
Oh, that's a very British word. Britain wins for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go one more. So, and as well, what we need to say as well, America is a vast country. It's huge. So there may be some difference between West and East, the way they would speak about a certain thing. So maybe they would use the word garden in a certain state. In fact, I think they use the word garden state, don't they, something, for a certain area. But yard is the more general kind of word that we've come to associate with American English. And that's an important thing because we get a lot of American English in the UK, don't we?
Yeah, through movies and stuff. Well, movies. There you go. There's another Americanism. Yep. We tend to call them movies now, but really they are films, aren't they?
Yes.
Which we see at the cinema. We go and watch a film at the cinema. That's what I used to say as a child. But even my language is changing. I might go and see a movie now at the picture house. You know, it's at
the picture. They call it the theatre as well, the movie theatre, don't they? Yeah. I wouldn't use the word theatre, but I would use the word movie. And that's crept in, and I think it's because of the impact of Hollywood. It's got to be, because they make more movies than we make films, maybe. But both words exist in the English language with no real difference.
No,
I mean, I've heard somebody say that movie is more of an expensive, big budget thing, and a film is kind of lower budget. I don't think there's much difference for us in that sense.
No.
Maybe you'd get an art house film and a Hollywood movie, but that again may be leaning into things. But there's quite a few. You use the word there, Americanisms. There's quite a few of those that have sort of crept in. One that always gets me is there's a rank in the army and in the Air Force, I believe, and possibly the Navy. I don't know, but a military rank, and that's lieutenant.
Oh yeah,
but the Americans.
No. Say lieutenant. Yeah, lieutenant.
Which I have to say makes more sense. Because we spell it the same, but we pronounce it with a F sound. Lieutenant. There is no F in lieutenant. There is no F. So the Americans will say lieutenant. And I find a lot of British people are saying lieutenant as well.
Again, maybe influenced by watching American war movies and things like that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, how many people regularly talk about a lieutenant unless they're in the army or one of the armed forces? So realistically, it makes sense. But there are a few of those that have crept in. Like we should say schedule, and the Americans say schedule.
Yeah.
But a lot of the UK also say schedule now.
Yeah, I know. And that bugs me.
Does it?
That bugs me because I was always brought up by my parents saying it's schedule. It's not American schedule, it's schedule. And when I hear other people say it incorrectly, I go, no, it's schedule. But as you say, it's interchangeable. Whichever way you say it, we know what it means.
There are a few examples of that, I think, in the UK where words are basically, like advertisement. We should say advertisement, and the Americans are more like advertisement. And you will hear a lot of British people saying advertisement now. Which is closer to the American pronunciation. And there's some people will even argue with. I mean, I don't mean to be controversial, but we can say controversy or controversy, and the Americans only say something closer to controversy, but we can say controversy. And I find more, I mean, it makes sense. More American pronunciations are sneaking in. So, yeah. But there are some words that we hold dear.
Yes.
Yes. Can you think of a good example of a word that you will never change?
Yes. Toilet.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I need a wee or something, I will go to the toilet. Or even if I just want to go and put my makeup on in the mirror, I will still go to the toilet, or maybe the bathroom. I suppose I could say bathroom, but Americans would tend to say the restrooms, yeah, or the restroom.
Yeah. For public toilets, isn't it?
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I find this one a weird one because they go, do you know where the restrooms are? And the last thing I ever want to do in a toilet is go and rest.
No,
In a
it's
public
true.
toilet, what are you doing? I'm just having a rest in the public toilet.
It's a more, I guess it's a more subtle way of saying what you want to go and do. It's quite obvious. If I'm going to the toilet, I think we know what I'm going to do. Going to
Yeah.
the restroom is a very polite way of sort of saying I'm going to an area, a room where I'm going to
Yeah,
do
but
something.
we have other words as well, like the gents or the ladies,
Yeah.
or we have other words as well that you can use. Some people will say the bathroom. It's a bit of an unusual one, but some people will say the bathroom to get away with it, to
Mm,
avoid talking, especially if you're in somebody's home,
yeah.
things like that. I think for me, a couple of words that I will die on, a hill I will die on is aubergine and
Oh.
courgette. So the
Oh.
Americans call aubergines eggplants,
Yeah.
which, yeah, I kind of get because it looks like a bit of an egg, and everybody in the UK now knows what an eggplant is because of the eggplant emoji. Let's say
Hmm.
no more. But if you don't know that, I'll tell you afterwards, Rob.
No, I've
Uh,
got it. Got it.
you've gone red. You've gone red. Almost the same color as an aubergine. But aubergine, they call it an eggplant, and we say courgette, they say zucchini.
Mm.
And I don't really have a preference over courgette or zucchini. I just will never say zucchini. It just
Not
sounds
right, is it? Yeah. And what
forced.
about tomato? You say tomato.
And I say
The Americans
tomato.
say tomato.
Yeah, the Americans say tomato,
Tomato.
which makes sense because of potato. I get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will never say tomato. It just sounds a bit
Mm,
unusual.
mm.
But yeah, and there are some pronunciations as well. There's also some spellings that we should really talk about. Like, for example, we say color with COLOUR. We put a U in it, like favorite as well, and neighbor, and they
Mm.
don't put the U in it. So color
Yeah.
for them is COLOR.
Hmm. Which makes sense if you pronounce it color, don't you?
Yeah.
It's not color, or anything like that, is it?
No, but there's lots of these arguments that I get told a lot of times that the American pronunciation and the American spelling is more logical.
Yeah.
But I always think about vitamin. So we say vitamin and they say vitamin.
Might have been. Hmm.
And it's like, well, it makes more logic. It's more logic because it's vi. And I'm like, yeah, but if you were going to say that, you might as well say vitamine then.
Hmm.
If you're going to go
Yeah.
both eyes and make them eyes. So yeah, I think there's, yeah, moments in there. We tend
Yeah.
to spell a lot of words with S's that they spell with Z's. In fact,
Hmm.
we say Z, they say Z for the letter.
Yes. Yes.
We say organize with an S, and they say organize with a Z, or they spell it with a Z, or analyze with an S and
Yeah.
analyze with a Z.
I'm thinking of
Which,
center. Spelling again. Center.
oof,
They
yeah,
spell it CENTER. Center.
and we
But
say
we spell
RE,
RE at the end. Center.
or,
Hmm.
which is closer, I believe, to the French. I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think French is more like RE. I think we've kept the French spelling. Same with
Yeah.
liter and
Yeah.
meter. We'll have these all written down here so you can see them. But traveling as well, words like that we spell with a double L. They spell with one L. So there's quite a few spellings. But let's go back to some words very quickly. We talked about movie theater. There are some words I think some people say that American English is more literal. So what are you
Hmm.
wearing on your face right now?
These.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I am wearing on my face. Glasses.
Glasses. Apart from that wonderful, I don't know. Yeah, glasses. But do you know what the Americans call them?
No.
Eyeglasses. Apparently. I've
Does
seen
it?
some comedy videos. Michael McIntyre does this.
Yeah.
Eyeglasses. Because he says
Well,
presumably at some point they put them on their knees.
but I suppose it does what it says on the tin, to use an
Yeah.
expression. They are glasses for your eyes. I don't know
Yeah.
what else you'd use them for, but
No, I don't know either. And I mean, I get as well, we've got a wristwatch, but now we just call it a watch. because we only use it on our wrist.
Yeah.
In the past, we had a wristwatch, we had a pocket watch, but we don't use pocket watches anymore. So yeah, eyeglasses makes no sense to me, as opposed to what, drinking glasses, in case you were using those on your eye. I don't know. Horse riding. Do you know what that is in American?
No.
Horseback riding.
Well, quite literal, isn't it? But yes.
I wonder where else they were riding. That's what I wonder. And I think
of course, the most controversial one.
Oh God.
Soccer and football.
Oh no, soccer's not a thing. Yeah. Would you ever call it soccer?
Never.
No. It's a word that I would correct, even though it's not technically wrong, because it's still American English. And a lot of Americans and a lot of people say, well, it comes from British English because it's like association football. So it's like a soccer association, but we call it football because we play it with our feet.
Yes.
As opposed to rugby, which we use our hands a lot more, or American football, which they tend to throw. That doesn't make any sense. But I guess because they've got the word football already used, they had to find another word. But yeah, we would use football. What's your favourite soccer team?
Soccer team? I don't have one because I don't like soccer. It's football, please. You tried to catch me out there.
I did. You looked angry when I said it. But there's lots of words. For example, instead of Q, they will say line. Instead of autumn, they say fall. Again, very literal because the leaves fall. Whereas we go with the Latin word.
Yeah. What about Roy? Rubbish. You're going to say rubbish?
Yeah. They say
one.
Trash, don't they? Trash. I've heard British people use the word trash. It makes sense. Rubbish is the general stuff we put in the bin.
Yeah.
But yeah. I would never use the word.
We do sometimes say people look trashy because they look messy and stuff like that. So we've kind of sort of slightly incorporated the word trash, but pure rubbish is rubbish.
And I owe the Americans an apology as well, by the way. So recently I talked about some American words versus British words that were very different. And I talked about rubber for us. In American English, what is rubber? The thing do you know?
Eraser?
You made the same mistake. Okay. So this is what we both now need to apologize to the Americans before, because they don't say eraser. They say, apparently, eraser with a S sound, not a Z sound. In British English, we would say erase, and they say, or eraser, and they would say eraser. And it's the same with vase and vase. So they use the unvoiced S sound, whereas we would use the Z. So I said, rubber in American English is a razor. It's not, it's eraser, apparently. So I apologize on behalf.
We must apologize spelt with a Z and not an S.
But we would still say eraser. But I think they spell it with it. I think they spell it with an S. So it makes sense. Mate, again, it's more logical. God, I'm starting to side with the Americans on this one. Rubber as well in British English. In American English, a rubber is a condom, isn't it? As well.
Yeah.
So we need to be careful. If you go to if you say, excuse me, can I borrow rubber? You might get a sexual, like a contraceptive when you want actually just to rub out some pencil.
Where in UK, if you ask for an eraser, you'll get one. You won't get a rubber.
And I think a couple. Have we got time for it? There's so many words. Maybe you could suggest some in the comments of these words that are completely different, because you've got a zebra crossing in the UK, where they would call it zebra, but zebra crossing, they call it a crosswalk. We have a number plate on the front of a car. They have a license plate. Two that get me, and I'm going to ask you if they annoy you as well before we end. Maths. We say maths with that S sound. They say math.
Yeah.
Do the math. That makes me want to say S every time. Do the math, Rob. Do the math.
Yeah.
No, I can't do it.
It's got to be maths, isn't it? Because you're doing
mathematics,
a number of calculations, for example.
Yeah. I don't know if there's logic there. We can argue the logic, but it's the word we use, and it's one of these things. Sometimes it just comes down to, we say biscuit, they say cookie, although we also use the word cookie to talk about a specific type of biscuit. We say chips, they say fries. We say crisps, they say chips. There are some words that, fine, it's just our word, that we use. But the one word that not stresses me out, but upsets me when I hear British people using vacation, because we should say holiday.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the one. So I
Yeah.
don't know why. We say
Vacation.
holiday for any time off. They say vacation.
Hmm.
But they do refer to the Christmas period as the holidays, I think.
Yes. That's the
Yeah.
holiday season, isn't it? Yeah.
But
No, that annoys me. It's definitely a holiday you're going on, not a vacation. I don't know where did that word come from? Is that
I think
French
it's
origins?
Latin. I think
Latin.
Spanish is vacaciones or vacaciones. So it makes sense, and we just say holiday from holy day. I think that's the etymology of that, a religious day. But yeah, that's the one I can't deal with. I have to correct it, even though it's not wrong. I suppose with CV, which is the thing you hand your job in, and they say resume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
about pavement, sidewalk?
Oh, yeah, again, very literal, isn't it? Walk on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Don't go down the middle. Oh no. But we've had a lot of things. We talked about, hopefully this lesson has been a holiday, not a vacation from your normal studies. If you do fancy supporting this podcast, you could buy a cup of tea for either Rob or myself. Oh, look at that. He's got his cuppa there. But I just want to say thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your. I'm trying to think of another American word that I can end on. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. You're thinking as well desperately, don't get anything on your pants.
No. All I'll say is have a nice day.
I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to us. Thank you, Rob, for joining me. I'll see you next time.
Bye.